Next up, transition screens. My goodness. Hi, welcome in, Kasky. How was your Sunday? Uh, yeah, I was doing some baking and I just figured I'd hop on. No real plan, but I have apples and Mark wants apple pies. So we're gonna make apple pies happen. And get out my light. And I have bright lights behind me. Yeah, again. Didn't make a plan, just kind of jumped into it. But I did get out all my ingredients, I think. Yeah, so let's get right in. I am gonna start, I think, with making some hot cider because that sounds really good, and I actually do have it this time, unlike last time when I said I did and I didn't, because it was different juice. But I have cider now, so I'm just gonna throw some on the stove and start it steeping. And don't toss this because I am going to put whatever we don't drink right back in this bottle. So I'll steep the entire bottle and then put the rest in there. And then it's already got a container in the fridge. But I'm just going to throw some extra spices in here. You can use ground spices and leave them in. Or you can use whole spices so you can pull them out. Either way, doesn't make tons of difference. But we got some anise and some cinnamon sticks, and I've got some nutmeg that I'll grate in. You can, of course, use whatever sorts of spices you like. If you're using small ones like cardamom pods or cloves or things, I would say use a sachet, wrap them in cheesecloth. Or like a tea steeper that you can easily remove. But I'm doing things so I don't need to do that. I also have a couple mandarin oranges, and I'm just gonna peel these and then drop the rinds in there so we can get some of that orange zest flavor. Try to get it off mostly in one piece so it's easy to pull out. And of course, you get yourself a nice little snack, too. You could also, of course, just zest those to throw them in there, but grate them the same way I grated the nutmeg. But if you're going to use the orange or eat it, then it doesn't really matter. And now I just gotta work on my oh, I had a little jar of honey too. If I can open it. I was gonna just throw this into the cider. Because I have it. It's just been kind of sitting in the cupboard. It's a little bit crystallized, but it doesn't matter because it's gonna dissolve right in. something out of my cupboard that I don't need to replace. So I think I got that from like a hotel. I was at a conference. And they had little tiny jars of honey. And I just took one home. Honey is one of those great things that never expires. Like, honey could be years and years and years old, and it doesn't expire. It doesn't grow mold because there's no water in it. Which I've managed to mess up once. Got to make it dissolve into my tea better once. I made some honey water, which then, of course, grew mold because I added a bunch of water. But as is, honey will not expire. Okay. So I think first thing I'm going to do is make up some more crust. I made some ahead of time, but I'm going to do some more crust to demonstrate. If I can find my butter. I just had it. And one thing I love is find a recipe that lends itself to one stick of butter. And this isn't quite a traditional pie dough. It's got a little bit of sugar in it. Oh, well. Helps if I turn the scale, doesn't it? There we go. Now it's actually measuring. There we go. Hi Bear Squared, and hi Jomi. Welcome in. We are making up some pie crust. How are y'all doing? Be slow and careful when you're putting your sugar in, because that 20 grams gets there real fast. Okay. Squats. Okay. Just gonna whisk up my salt, sugar, and flour. And then get my butter in. Do some squats for Bear. The knife. Knife squats. Okay, and then I'm going to I have cold butter, it's right out of the fridge. And just dice it to small chunks. And drop them right in. Good thing OSHA's not in my kitchen. And I'm just going to work the butter in with my fingers. You can also do this in a, yeah. You can also do this in the food processor. It's real quick. But then you have to wash your food processor. And sometimes you just like getting your hands into things. And thank you, Bear. I try to keep it cozy. No chaos allowed. The only chaos comes from the husband yelling in the background. Welcome in, Dragon Rogue. Thank you so much for the follow. I hope you're having a lovely Sunday. And let us know. It's baking day, so let us know what one of your favorite baked goods is. You'll notice that I do have a channel point redemption for choosing a recipe, so if you're here a few times, you might get to dictate what comes up next. Okay. So I got my butter worked in enough. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then I just need some ice water. And it's like just over a third of a cup. I'm gonna put in most of it. Mix it up, and if I need some more, I can add some more. You need a little bit less water if you're doing it in the food processor too. Okay, now that it's just gonna bring it together. There we go. Don't want to work it too much. I'm not trying to get any gluten developed. And also don't work it too much because you don't want your hands to warm it up. And then, so I don't waste plastic wrap, I just like to throw some flour in the bottom of a Tupperware, plop it in, throw a little bit more on top, and seal it up. Favorite kind of pie to make? I mean, I really just have to say whatever pie is in season, or whatever fruit is in. I like making fruit pies and turnovers, and so whatever is in season is really the favorite thing to make. Cherries way up there in the late spring. I like making meringues a lot. I make a pretty good tiramisu. I love a baked cod. Also, pancakes. I know, right, CL? You didn't come over to hang out, so I had to find something to fill my time. Okay. So, I'm gonna get my apples going. And we don't have many single-use tools, but if you do have a single-use tool, this is a real good one. It's a corer peeler slicer. It does so much work so quickly. Oh no. Let's put down a paper towel so because I'm going to use that as a cutting board at some point. And then I'm just going to slice it once down the middle, and now I have a bunch of apple slices all done. I can't imagine your single use at pancakes. I bet you had dozens. Ah. Make sure it's good. Ooh, those are real good apples. It does. It's amazing. And if you don't want to peel it, you can make this just you can disengage this bit of it and it doesn't peel it for you. So you can just slice and core if you prefer. Ooh. My cider's back here is looking ready to drink. I know it's a nice one. And I'm using a mix of Arkansas Black and Granny Smith apples. Oh no! I'm losing a slice. Probably move it back from the edge of the counter so I don't lose more. I've only had like a core ejector. That'd be the only way to improve this device. I'm using about a dozen. Although I'm going to throw some pears in here too, so it'll be slightly peary. But they're both nice, firm fruits. They should bake about the same rate. Because I'm going to cut them into the same size pieces. It's nice because you can also just get replacement blades for it. And of course, you can also sharpen them. And of course, if you're really ambitious, you can save all these peels and like make apple tea out of them. I'm just throwing all of the peels into my compost, so I'm not too concerned about it because I'm not generating a ton of excess waste. But yeah, you could certainly use the peels again, or of course leave them on if you want to do that. One more apple and then 2 pears. We're going to see if the peeler core works just as well on pears as it does on apples. I think it will. Oh yeah, look at that. I'm getting some squeak. I think we need to oil. Ooh, it's heavy though. I think we need to oil the handle over here. It's just giving me a little bit of squeaky squeak. Sometimes you miss the core just a little bit. Go a little trim. There's our fruit done. Well, peeled and cored and sliced. When I'm here, the mic is right in front of my face. I wonder if I could rotate this. Is that good? Is that better? Is that better? Yeah, it's a little better. Okay. And it's facing me more too now. Okay. So, we're gonna... I put away spices before I had... Anyway, I'm gonna spice this up. And you can measure if you want. It's nice and fresh fruit. So it doesn't need a ton of sugar, but it does need some sugar to help extract liquid. So I'm just gonna give it a little sprinkle. It's probably a quarter cup. Go back in with my nutmeg. Let's do a hit of vanilla powder. Add some allspice. And I'll hit a salt. Just to bring out all the other flavors. Then give it a mix and make sure it looks like you have enough seasoning on there. Everything should be well coated. It should smell nice and festive in here too. Of course, honestly, you'll get that with just cinnamon. Okay, there's my spices on. I'm also going to give this a hit of lemon juice. And because it's a lot, I'm going to do 2 lemons. Also, the sugar will be in there to help counteract some of that tartness of the lemon that I just added. I'm also going to do a good quarter cup of cornstarch. Which will help it coagulate all those juices so it doesn't get super runny. It'll make a nice intact slice of pie. And then just give that another mix. There we go. Okay. Give another pass through to make sure all your slices have separated and that they've gotten nicely coated with seasonings. You also don't want to go too overboard because it is an apple pie. You don't want it to be a cinnamon pie with some apple in it. Okay. I'm just gonna let that sit for a minute. We can start working on it. Well, we can have a drink now. Can yell at the husband to come get himself some cider. Husband! He's not paying attention. He's killing zombies. There we go. What kind of cider do you have, CL?
At the exit of that tank, there's to your right.
Yes, I made hot cider. That was the first thing I made. Ooh. My little cat mug. It's cute and dignified cats. And it goes great by itself. Or you can throw in a shot of bourbon, or amaretto would be good, or some cinnamon schnapps. All those would be super nice and tasty. Then we can start rolling out our dough.
All the way down this hole. Do you have it? I need more ammo. Do you have it? Can you drop any shot?
And that flour I have in there to keep it from getting wet and sticky will be also my flour for rolling out. So I want to get it nice and thin. And you can see little bits of butter in it still. Perfectly fine. And then I've got my tray over here. There you go. Should fit nicely inside your pie tray. And then you can, well, I don't know if it'll work for this. I guess it did. It worked okay. That'll help you trim off some of the excess, which we're going to then use to make our topping, top crust, once we put our filling in there. And this dish is nice because it's got some ridged edges, so I don't have to do a whole bunch of work to make the pie look nice.
You got hot cider?
Yeah.
Is it done?
Yes.
Can I have some?
Yes.
No, apple pie later. Pork in the sous vide. Fancy.
Hmm?
Dave's cooking pork in the sous vide.
Oh, that's fancy.
What kind of seasonings did you use?
I'm gonna throw this back in the fridge real quick so my hot little hands don't melt it.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds good. Does the cider come with whipped cream?
No?
Darn.
He said the magic word, Seal.
Whipped cream? You all like whipped cream? Are we almost done? Or the last one doesn't take much time at all.
Okay. Now we can turn the oven on. And fill up our pie crust. So this recipe doesn't blind bake it, and we'll see how it works out. But of course you can take your time and make a nice little even layer so it can get evenly cooked, or you can just dump it all in there. I mean, really up to you. But you don't want to pack it in because it will cook down a bit. And you do like a nice full pie. And we got plenty of apples, so plenty of apple pear mixture. Yeah, next time you visit, you can buy spiced cider, and I can. Oh, it's plenty gooey already. I didn't need to let it. Thank you, Music Man. Also, picking through and layering it like this helps you make sure you get any apple seeds that you might have missed if your corer was just the slightest bit off. But yeah, the more... If I was trying to get the juices out, I would have let it sit so I could drain it. But it's already getting wet. I put that lemon juice in there to help it along. Oh, what I was saying is the next time you visit Seal, you could, instead of getting cider, instead of getting hard ciders, you could just buy some apple cider and we could throw it on the stove and get it nice and hot and toasty. And it's real simple. I'm back to some basics over here, Music Man. I've done a couple of complicated, weird stuff. I used to say that I would do real simple stuff all the time, and then I started doing some complicated stuff. So, kind of back to basics today. The pie crust was 5 ingredients. The apples, or the filling, is 1 ingredient plus spices. Nice and simple.
Oh, no, we have to test it on the big boss, the big daddy.
And then you can go as fancy as you want with the pie crust. You could just roll it out again. I watched someone do some fancy stuff, and I'm going to try it. We'll see if it works out. And I'll save the rest of this for the tarts. I've got some smaller tarts that are working, and I will use the second batch of pie dough for those later. You don't want to really cook them at the same time because they're going to be a lot smaller and cook a lot faster. So I watched someone do a lattice, but they intentionally made different sizes of strips so that you didn't have to have exactly the same sizes and it still looked nice. So you can either go real nice and precise and get them all exactly the same, or oh, you just want me to bake the liquid? Like thicken it into like a custard and make that as a tart? I suppose that's a thing that can be done. You probably have plenty of channel points, CL. You could request a apple custard tart. Mark also requested that I make like penis decorations on top of this, but I don't even know how I would go about doing that. I told him I could, like, he could print out a penis cookie cutter for me, and I could just like punch out little ones and pop them all over the top. But yeah, I don't know. Or I guess I could just like cut little penis shapes out of the top crust and just do a full top crust. You could, CL. That is a thing. And completely up to you. So, let's do a thin strip and a thicker strip. Just kind of alternate. And as long as they're clearly different sizes, they can be kind of a little bit random. Is that what you're going for, CL? Is the custard pie? I also saw them do like a braided strip, which was interesting. Maybe I could try that too. Cut it part of the way through. And then I can... Oh, this works better with like a sausage. With 3 like sausage strips. That's a braid, right? Not the greatest. So then you lift up every other and lie this one across.
Good. Oh boy, I do that. I can tell you where. Just stand there. And you have a deal too. Grenade, we got another boss. 60 left. 30 coming around the corner right now.
I feel like I'm missing. I need to have like twice as many lattice strips. It's always hard to know how much dough to make.
That one over 100, I guess.
Should have done more across in the first place. You can also use, I mean, yeah. So it's a pretty open lattice because I didn't layer things close enough to each other in the first place. But you can also make little shapes. Like, I wonder if I can find. You also don't want to roll it out too many times because then it'll just get meltier and tougher each time until the butter's starting to melt on me because I'm just handling it with hot hands. But you can just like cut out little shapes. Little dots on. You can paint your little dots. Now put them on crossings. Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. Little polka dots. I know, right? You can tell it's getting a little tacky from the butter. I could cut this into 3 bits. Try to make another braid. I need more flour. Can you... You get tacky when I put my hot hands on you, Music Man? CL, can you message me in Discord and just remind me so I can write it down? Because I cannot type it right now. I'm going to try a different method for making a braid. You're both full of butter. Full of butter and delicious.
Putz, 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 putz. Spoiler, here's the putz. Hi.
Hi.
Did you make your things, the dick ring?
You didn't print me out a dick.
You gonna put a token one on for me?
I can't. You didn't print me one.
Make one by hand.
I don't know how to do that.
Roll the balls.
No. My goodness. Okay, and then I pinch the ends together, and then I can braid it a little bit more evenly. and theoretically more tightly rolled. Well, that's interesting at least.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I guess I could have done that like around the entire border if I'd done enough of it.
Beep, beep. Oh, wait. Your pants are super dirty.
They're super flowery.
That food's terrible. Can you buy some more food?
Yes, I heard them. And then I can either do an egg wash, but I just have a little bit of cream, so I'll do a cream wash instead.
Oh, a whipped cream wash?
Oh.
That's what I want. Well, they've got whipped cream everywhere.
Oh no, I lost my dot. It's just a little bit of different flavor. It still gets you some browning. It's really just for color. And I just have it on a tray so I can more easily grab it out of the oven. And then that just needs to go for like 45 minutes. Okay. I actually could have done that in the toaster oven too. I did also, earlier this morning, make ice cream base. So, once Mark gets around to it, he can churn that ice cream so he can have ice cream with his pie. Okay, so now, because I didn't plan any dinner stuff, but we've got a bunch of pork butt. I am going to Warren, what? This is too big. I'll transfer that to a Tupperware. Right? Yeah. And transfer that. He said he's going to do it later, and now he wants me to interrupt what I'm doing.
Machine out now. I guess I can put the machine over there.
He has a very bad habit of not preparing his space before he goes and grabs a thing, and now I've got to clear his space while he's holding a thing.
I didn't think you were going to have
He didn't think about anything exactly. He didn't prepare.
Why would there be crap?
Because you put the crap there. Why is there potatoes on the counter? Because that's where you put the potatoes when we bought them.
That's not. What's all over this?
What's all over
Raw
it?
meat on the top of this container.
Oh my goodness, that's flour. It did not drip anything.
It did, but that's fine. Oh! Close your container.
I didn't do a lot of things.
You didn't do it.
Because I am in the middle of
I
cooking.
got it.
No, I didn't put away all my cooking stuff in the middle of cooking.
Please clean station. What is Jacques Cousteau or whatever his name is?
Jacques Cousteau.
I mean, Jacques Torres.
I'm pretty sure you mean Jacques Torres, but I think you really mean the Kitchen Impossible guy. Or Dinner Impossible. The English military guy.
What's his name? What's the bald head?
Robert
something.
He's not bald.
Robert England?
No, his name is not Robert England.
That's right. Robert. What's his name?
Robert something. Pretty sure he means Robert Irvine. He brings a lot of chaos, honestly. Okay. So I'm just gonna use the same bowl. I guess I'll rinse it out. And we had a ton of pork left over. So I just felt like making some sweet and sour pork because I've never made it at home before.
Pineapple?
I'm being told I can't make it without pineapple. I have plenty of time because I'm not making it till tomorrow. But it's got to marinate overnight. So I'll do this marinating right now and I'll bake it tomorrow. And if I really need pineapple, I can go get pineapple. I need to put this in a place where it's not going to be getting raw meat on it. Okay. So I just need to cut this up into fryer-sized chunks. Frying-sized chunks. Trim off a little bit of fat.
Where is the thingy?
Trim off a lot of that. There's a whole
What?
fat back on this.
Where's the thingy?
Where's the thingy, he asks.
For the ice cream machine, I can't find it.
I don't know.
I guess I can try ice cream.
I guess not.
The world.
There's the lesson, kids. Give up immediately after you start looking. First setback. Just throw the whole thing away.
Well, it's usually an ice cream machine. It's not there, so it's gone forever. I don't know what weird things you put away in weird places. For all I know, it's on the drying rack for the last month now.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
All this fat is great if you're roasting this whole thing in the oven because it has lots of time to melt and become your gravy. But for this, I don't want it.
Maybe you should have checked the other one. It might have been less bad. I guess it's
The other one's in the freezer. So it's fine. I'm just cutting it into small chunks.
There's no bin for the thing. What's this cream over here for?
So it's not in the middle of the pork splash zone.
Oh, no, free that splash.
I never said there wasn't a splash zone. I said there wasn't a pool of pork guts underneath the double bagged container. He's also been asking for ice cream for weeks, and he hasn't prepared.
I haven't prepared.
You haven't prepared.
I'm fully prepared.
The only thing I ask, I make him anything he wants. I just ask that he gets into stuff.
That's weird. Oh, it's in the thing already.
It was already in it! I can't find the container. It's already in there!
Now I have to find the paddle, though. I have to find the paddle.
Paddle's right up there.
There's two paddles, one for ice cream and one for sorbet. That's the ice cream one.
Good thing that's the one you have.
Am I putting mixins in this ice cream or not?
It's up to you. You asked for vanilla ice cream so you can make root beer floats and have apple pie a la mode.
Get my... Let's get my root beer in the fridge.
You should put your root beer in the fridge. That would help. Back when his work was in the office, in the summer, they would do weekly root beer float fundraisers. And they made tons of money for charity. Because root beer floats are real simple to make and to sell and to everything involved.
Also, they're real simple. This woman at work always had to have her float made in a certain way. She wanted her ice cream to be crusty, so you had to pour the root beer first and then drop the ice cream into the root beer. Changes the consistency.
It does. It changes how much it foams. Changes a lot of stuff. So I'm just gonna carve back this fat cap. Cutting away from myself mostly. Certainly not directly towards my fingers. As you get more done, it gets easier because you have a more solid grip. Welcome back, Dragon. So the pie is in the oven, and now I'm doing some prep for some sweet and sour pork that I'm going to make tomorrow. Because the pork needs to marinate overnight. So I'm just getting it ready because I've got 45 minutes while the pie bakes. But I've got got a bunch of back fat. I wish I could cut my back fat off this easily. I guess it is only this easy because this pork is dead. I suppose if that's the alternative, I can just go to the gym. Also kind of thought pork was appropriate because it's not, well, I had it is one thing, but also pork and apples is kind of a classic combination. And I'm not the hugest fan of like pork cooked in applesauce. It's a little weird. But it's very classic. My mom makes it all the time. So I'll eat it because my mom makes it. But it's not like my favorite thing to do, so it's not something I'm going to make. And this is just new for me, so I'm excited to try something new. Especially when I'm streaming. I try not to repeat myself on stream. Of course, if someone asks for something, I will absolutely make it, even if I've made it before. I'll try to find a new recipe or a new variation or something new and interesting to do with it. But I'm gonna have to... Maybe I'll use some of this hot cider that I made as the apple flavoring for my, for the custard pies that I gotta make next time. Or, you know what? I wonder if I have any more of the boiled apple cider. Because that would be real good. That's real intense apple flavor. I should check the pantry. I might have some more. And if I don't, then I should see if my mom has any. And if not, I should see... I should just go to Apple Hill and buy some. And did my music stop? My music stopped. Huh, weird. Can you come over and restart my music?
Oh wait, so you're making dinner for tomorrow.
This is for tomorrow.
What are we doing for dinner tonight?
Either clam chowder or stew.
How do I turn the music on?
On the other side, the media tab that's open. The media folder.
Okay.
Just click the first one.
Video pause.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did that get autocorrected, Evan? Huh. Either way, welcome in. Happy Sunday, Evan. How are you doing? Okay, I got this big ol' mass of pork fat to throw away. Ooh, it smells lovely and appley in here. It already smelled pretty appley because of the cider, but now the pie is bacon. Oh, Evan, you bake. Grinding? Yeah. It's almost time to start playing Final Fantasy again once it comes out. You bake, though. Have you ever done the cheddar cheese crust on your apple pie? Because I'm thinking about, well, I'm going to make some tarts, too, once that dough's chilled. And I was thinking about trying the cheddar cheese thing on some of them. Never tried it. Okay. It's a thing. It's supposed to be good. It might be a southern thing. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I hear you just grate cheddar cheese and put it on top of your crust and it melts into your crust. It's supposed to be really good. Okay. Back to my marination station. I'm gonna leave my seeds in my chilies because that's a lot of pork. So it's gonna need some spice. Try not to get your fingers too covered in hot pepper, because it's no good for the rest of your day. Spice and apple pie, but bird's eyes and apple. Bird's eyes? Bird's eyes? Bird's eyes. What's bird's eyes? Is this a bird's eye chili? Oh, I have no idea. They came out of the garden. It's whatever I planted. It's miscellaneous chili. It's one of these. But these aren't going in the apple pie. These are going in my pork that I'm marinating overnight. So I'm gonna marinate some pork overnight so I can make sweet and sour pork tomorrow. I like red jalapeno. Okay. And there's a few ways you can mince up your garlic. I'm gonna try the scraping method today. See how well that works for me. Once I get them all peeled up. Just like lemon juice. If you have any little cuts on your finger and you get some hot chili in there, you can tell. I've also still got a whole bush of Thai red chilies in the garden. Nice and tiny and intensely hot. But don't need to harvest those until I'm using them. Okay. I'm gonna trim these off. Now I'm going to chop them a little bit. And then throw a spoonful of salt on it, which is fine because I haven't put any salt in my pork yet, and it's going to need plenty of seasoning because it's a big piece of pork. And then you can just kind of scrape chop and scrape the garlic around your board and kind of make a paste. The salt acts as an abrasive. You can also just run it through a grater or a blender or myriad other things, or just chop it pretty fine, but this will start to work. And of course I use pink salt, so it's an oddly pink paste. This is also a really good way to paste your garlic if you're making garlic bread, because it spreads out on your bread like that. Of course, you can also just toast your bread and then grate a clove of garlic right onto your bread, and the abrasiveness of the toasted bread will grate it up for you. And of course, you can also blitz it up and make compound butter, and then just spread the garlic butter on your bread. Either way, there's my garlic paste. And don't mind the pink, because there's some chili in there and a bunch of pink salt in there. So don't worry about it. Garlic bread, Evan? Like this garlic bread? Ooh! That garlic bread is to go with clam chowder. And the same thing with some ginger. Actually, let's cut this up. I keep losing the giant bag of it in my freezer. Finally went through the giant bag of Costco ginger. Ginger keeps very well in the freezer. And just trim the ends, and then I can peel the rest. I've seen methods of just scraping it with a spoon to get the skin off, but that works better on fresh ginger, not frozen and thawed. Like, the taste is still good, but it is not, does not really work for that spoon trick. But the knife works good. I kind of think I can mush this into a paste the same way I did the other. And of course, it's already broken down somewhat by being frozen and thawed. I wonder. Nah, it's a little bit too fibrous to do that. So, just stick with the knife. The chopping. And the nice thing about a small chopping board for this is I can just rotate it. Or of course you can just gather it up and chop back through. Or you can buy ginger and garlic paste at the store if you prefer to go that route. Okay. And we need some baking soda. Cornstarch. And soy. And just mush that together. Okay, and that'll marinate overnight. Yes, do as I say, Evan. Don't do as I do. I'm not using it for leavening. It's just for getting texture and into the sauce when it fries. The baking soda will help it when it fries. I definitely measure the baking soda when it comes to baking. Yeah, it's just gonna have to get my hands dirty again. And then a couple times before I cook this, I'll probably massage the bag and squish it around. Make sure it's nice and well coated on all sides. If you're worried about getting your hands dirty, you can just put stuff straight into the bag and then squish it around instead of getting your hands all gooey with pork juice. It doesn't coat it quite as well, but it does an okay job. It's just more important at that point to make sure you do a few tosses in between. And that'll just go in the fridge overnight. About 15 minutes left on the pie. I don't really have anything left to do. I can start making our tarts though. I'm gonna sterilize this counter first, just in case there's any pork residue. I heard a ding. I was off getting Clorox wipes. Amber, hello. Welcome and thank you for the host. Oh my goodness. Blessed by the stream mom today. How was your stream earlier today? Speaking of streamers, Kasky was here earlier. BK Kasky. Lovely bean. Absolutely adorable. Super fun streamer. Evelyn and I does streams as well. Video games. And also did some baking streams. Which is why I knew to ask him about apple pie stuff. And Amber's stream mom, super nice, very supportive, always friendly, and she also remembers to take breaks for her own mental health. Very important to do. So please give Analog Amber a follow if you do not already. You were streaming some more of that artsy game earlier. Ooh, this is hot tray. I need to get a different tray. So if I try to put dough in those tart pans, it will not be a good time. Okay, well, let's just get a different one. That's why we have extra tart shells. Tart molds. Sweet beans, yes. Only the best beans. Okay. There's our dough we made earlier. And you know what? I'm going to portion this so I can roll it out individually so I don't mess too much with making it tough. So I'm going to cut this into 6 portions. Ember also did some baking on stream at least once. Let's see, how do we want to do this? I guess I can just pinch it out, really. These will be more like tarts than pies, because I don't know if I'm going to have any... I don't know if I'm going to have enough extra to do any top crust stuff. We'll see. We'll see how it works out. Do want to get this thin enough and big enough so I don't have to make any patches, because patching it starts to get a little less shell integrity. Still need a little bit, but try to minimize. Yeah, so these will be apple tarts. And I'll try to do, I don't know. Probably make some more of this for CL's Recipe Redemption next week. Do the tart ones. Well, that worked a little better. Kinda. Kinda worked better. I think it worked worse. I spoke too soon. Maybe that was just a slight bit less dough than the other ones. I will say that after doing this by hand, if I had used the food processor, the dough would be also easier to work with. So definitely do that if you have it available. But I do like doing things by hand just to keep things simple when able. Food processor series made by hand. Yeah, and this comes together just fine, but now that I'm trying to squeeze them into tart pans instead of just rolling it out in one go, I can see where it's a little bit more finicky. This is actually the dough I use for making galettes, which is just a pie without a tin. So I figured it'd work just fine for putting in a tin as well. Fingers crossed, I hope. Because it's a really good, it's tasty dough. Don't know what I'm going to do with that last little bit. We'll see. We'll see if I remember that that is even pie dough when it comes around to it. Yeah. So I wanted to have some pies that I could take to the office, because I do have to go to the office one day a week. So it's much more manageable taking small things to the office. And then I don't have to take a whole pie, which is aggravating in itself because there's only a couple people in the office. And this way I can just give one person a whole thing. There's no like cutting and serving and mixing and needing of utensils and things. And because they're in the tart pans, I can pop them out. So they'll be single portions. But ever since I started this job, like I started this job mid-pandemic. And the people who knew me before, because I'd worked with some of these people before, they're like, we haven't gotten to have any of the baked goods. Like, starts to make you wonder, did they hire me because I'm good at this job or because I was gonna bring them treats? Honestly, either way, whatever gets you in. Sometimes it's those little connections and things that get you the job, and then you just go and show up every day and do your job well, and it doesn't really matter. Meow at her. A few weeks ago you made a sweet potato pie with the dough from Chris Kimball's vodka pie dough. Oh. I do enjoy listening to Milk Street, the podcast. He does have some good advice, although there's some times when I listen to it and they're like, they don't know the answer, and I'm like, oh, I know that answer. Why don't I call in? And I wonder if I could be like one of those call-in people who calls in to like give a different perspective on a question someone else asked. But I don't want to also be that annoying person. I don't really peg Christopher Kimball as being like a dessert person most of the time. So I feel like if he is doing a dessert, it's going to be pretty simple and effective. But of course, yeah, very knowledgeable regardless. And of course, I was just looking into like the outcomes of the lawsuit because America's Test Kitchen was suing Christopher Kimball. I think they finally settled. Dough turned out fine, but it's sloppy to sloppy to work with. And right when I finish this last one, it's going to be just about time to pull the first pie out of the oven. Love it when that works out. Perfect. Ooh, a Yule log. I've not done a Yule log on stream. I've done one for Christmas before. For the Christmas season. I usually bake either a gingerbread house or a Yule log around Christmas at my sister-in-law's house. And I can go right in. It's not going to take 45 minutes because they're mini. So I'll check it after half an hour. Amazon, set half-hour pie timer.
Pie timer. 1 hour. Starting now.
Yes, they can be tricksy. The great thing about Yule logs, of course, is that you just cover them in ganache and then you can't see if there's any cracks or anything going on, as long as you get that swirl. But I've seen so many people make swirl cakes on various baking shows in the last couple of years that I think I might have a few new techniques to try. We'll see. Yeah, let me clear a little space. Oh. Clicked off. I was getting ready to, Whee! There's our pie. Let's get that Tupperware out of the way. you can tell I didn't quite do the greatest job on the extra decorations, but yeah, it's a little burny bit, but that's fine. It just snaps right off. There we go. I know, right? That's wild. But here's our apple cake. Or apple pie. Apple pie. There's a top crust, it's pie. It's not a cake. I'm getting distracted. Thank you. I tried to do a little bit of a braided rim right here. It actually turned out okay. I was just testing a little piece of the dough, seeing if I could braid it. And I think I could do that like around the entire rim, and it would be real nice. But I'm gonna let that cool down a little bit. If I had a windowsill, I would use it. I'm gonna pull the ice cream base out of the fridge. I made ice cream base earlier, and Mark is going to churn this up. And by the time it is churned, the pie will be ready to eat. Yeah, and the ice cream base is real simple. It's just egg yolks, sugar, vanilla bean, milk, and cream. So also real simple, and a little salt, because I always need a little salt. Yeah, so everything's real simple today. Tomorrow I'm going to make... Oh, I'm not going to stream it tomorrow, probably, because I'll be out dealing with... I'll probably be at karate. Anyway, so So yeah, I'll cook up that pork tomorrow and I'll let you know how it turns out. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for coming and hanging out while I made some pies off the cuff, kinda. Thank you again for the follow, Dragon Rogue. Thank you for the host, Amber. So nice to see you. Yeah, thanks everyone for hanging out. Good to see you too, Evan. I'm gonna go find someone to raid. Let's open Twitch and see who's on. Tim's been on for 7 hours already, goodness. Oh, we can go see Danny. Perfect. If I can spell. Oop. Raid 1, there's a raid message. Raid message for subs. I can right click in my chat window. Anyway, yeah, thank you again for hanging out. I did some Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous stuff off stream just to do a bunch of army management and general management things because it wasn't super exciting. But I'll be back with some more questy stuff sometime in the next couple of days. I have my real game to run tomorrow, but after that, yeah, well, Tuesday probably, and Wednesday will be the episode 3 of Featherfall Tabletop Tomb of Annihilation, that stream game that I'm in. So I will see you later on this week, and until then, I hope y'all have a great rest of your Sunday, great rest of your weekend, and a lovely and happy and productive day tomorrow. Until next time, bye.
Hi, how you doing? Thank you for the raid.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, you all can join.